Welcome to the Being Curious Show. I'm Brian Mariani, founder of No Shift Own.
And I'm Kelly Wagner, publisher of Edge Magazine. Our show is about curiously connecting teachers and seekers on a wide range of topics in a safe space. Few topics will be off limits, and we have some amazing guests to share with you.
Our intention is that our conversations will spark your own curiosity to create a life that lights you up and inspires you to be kind, thoughtful, open-minded to yourself and others.
We are on AM 950, Sundays at 2 p.m. and all podcast platforms. So, Brian, what are you curious about today?
Oh, well, here we are, Kelly. We are live. We are in the show again. We're so excited to have our guest today, Char Savoie. She's a certified Reiki master, teacher, medium, intuitive divination reader, metaphysical teacher, empath, mentor, ordained minister, and paranormal investigator. I practiced that for 2 weeks and I almost didn't get it right, but I think we got it. She's also the owner of Metamorphosis Connections, metamorphosisconnections.com, and her own website, charvinity.com. Kelly, we're curious, but I know we have a question for Char to set this all off.
What don't you do?
I don't know. Give me some time.
And then you'll jump into it. Okay, Char. So, look at my shirt. You can see it. What are you curious about?
I am curious about how we can bridge the gap better between the paranormal and the metaphysical and break down those stereotypes and make it more equal, because it is.
So tell us a little bit more about, because the AM 950 audience is a very diverse one. Tell me a little bit more about what's the paranormal community and then what's the metaphysical community.
The paranormal community and the metaphysical community, it's interesting because they're kind of the same, but they're actually really different. And so I don't understand why there's kind of this misconception that they're completely different, because they're not. For example, I'm a medium. So if I'm going to sit down and do a reading for you and I go to a haunted location, I do it exactly the same. Nothing's different. A spirit is a spirit. A story is a story. And there's nothing I need to change. It's all beautiful. So there's no misconception. Actually, being psychic is paranormal under definition. So they are the same. They just, somehow I feel like they've come out with this light and dark thing, and it really isn't. And maybe it's because we go to abandoned locations, people think it's dark or it's scary, or Hollywood has painted that picture. But if there's a lost soul there, it's no different than your grandma needing to cross over.
You're totally true. And you are also a really good friend of Greg at Ghostbox Radio here on AM 950. And he had me on the show a couple of weeks ago. And we were like, so when he goes on an investigation, he brings tools. But then when I go on an investigation, I bring tools. They just look a little different.
When I do a reading, I have tools.
You have tools, right?
Yeah.
Brian has tools with what he does. So it's beautiful. And I see with your gifts and abilities and your partnerships in the different communities that you're a part of, it's almost like you're going to take these walls and make them like smoke and just like help them evaporate up, which I think is just, yay! Like,
I hope so.
Like, so needed. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, like, how did you get here today? Outside of the car. And you didn't so Brian, I almost got in a really bad car accident coming in here today.
Oh, no.
And I was like, it was so funny because this lady, I've been driving a Jeep Wrangler for years and I'm in this little Kia, and this lady I know she was busy. I know she wasn't thinking, but she just almost just totally took me out. And of course, the first thing I think of is like, we have 2 shows today and I'm not going to be able to get a hold of Char and Brian at the station and let them know that I've been in a really bad accident, but talk about angels and talk about, it was not, and I was running on time, and after it happened, I waved at the lady, and I was really like, thank you, and then I took a moment and pulled over, and I just thanked my team, because I was like, thanks you guys, because there's no reason I got out of that.
Right.
Outside of, well, we know, but... Right?
Right.
It wasn't my time, and it wasn't her time, right? She was supposed to move on with her day, but we were supposed to have that moment, and I'm sorry, I just hijacked your question of what got you here outside of a car.
It's okay. It's okay. My story is kind of a backward story. Everybody thinks they have this great spiritual awakening, and I hear all these wonderful stories. They went to a retreat, and the angels were singing to them, and all these things. No, I was actually terrified of all of this. Grew up, I slept with the lights on until I was 35. Couldn't stand it. I was terrified. My only reference was Hollywood, which was horror movies, so that didn't help. And then eventually I just got curious, and I'm like, why can't I get past this fear? I need to get past the fear. I went and spent the night at the Stanley Hotel, signed up for their overnight investigation, did that, became a paranormal investigator. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, they talk to you.
Tell me about the night at the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, it was interesting. It was I was terrified. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh my God, I'm diving in deep,
Yeah.
And so, but I actually had some really good interactions. I had some really, people that were really good at explaining the tour guide we had. She was fantastic. She explained it. She made it not scary. She was like really good about making people feel comfortable. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I'm curious now why, like, what is this, So, long story short, I had some friends that were really wanting to know what had happened, and we started talking. We never knew that any of us were into the paranormal or wanted to talk about it. And we just started a team, and one thing led to another. And I ended up working in a haunted location, and the universe was like, game on.
Yeah. Now, when you were at the Stanley Hotel, did you sleep with the lights on or off?
I slept with the lights on.
Okay. No, sorry. Keep going, Brian. I had to ask.
So I just wanted to ask, you obviously made it through that night and many other nights since. Have you ever experienced, seen, felt, heard any bad or evil spirits? Or whatever you call that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's evil is kind of one of those terms I don't really like to go to because, again, it's kind of a Hollywood thing. There's some spirits that are crabby, they're grumpy, they were crabby and grumpy in life, and they're going to be crabby and grumpy after life. I've had readings in a holistic office where the person was grumpy. So it's just where they are. But, if there's somebody who all of a sudden catches hold on the internet, there's mean person at this thing, and like thousands of people are traipsing through there every night poking and prodding this person, I'd be kind of crabby too.
I'd be totally ornery. I'd be like, get out of my place. Like, get out of here.
There are some that are not maybe on the other side, but it's so rare and far in between. It's not like it is on TV at all.
I like how you call it souls crabby because that's like beautiful way of describing it, right?
Yeah.
Like, think about the people walking in there, gawking. I mean, like, see it from their point of view, and they've got these machines, and they've got these bright lights, and they're calling out their name, and then they're saying, "Perform, give me a sign, give me a sign."
Well, if somebody spent all day poking at me and saying, "Why are you so crabby? Why are you so crabby?" I'd become really crabby really fast.
For year after year after year after year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you go to the Stanley Hotel. You kind of have this right? And then you come home and you worked at a haunted place?
Not right away, a couple years into it. It actually ended up being one of our investigations. I fell in love with it, fell in love with everything about it, and then I ended up working there a few years later. So
for our listeners that don't know what a paranormal investigation is, and you mentioned a team, tell us about what is an investigation and then who would make up a team?
That's a great question. So an investigation, honestly, from the very first time it started till now, that totally terminology has changed for me. An investigation is about you finding the story, the truth. It's not your story. It's not your narrative. You're not there to tell what happens to you. It's like, what is going on with the spirit? So it's just like being a private investigator. You do the research. You dig into it. You ask the questions. You want to, engage with the spirit. You don't want to just tell them who they are and what they're doing, but maybe have them talk about themselves. Go about it differently. You're being the investigator. You're trying to pull things out in the story and to tell the story and to see if they need help. And then as far as a team goes, you go with people who you trust. Flat out. People that trust, people that are like-minded, that see it the same way. If you have people that are all over the page, it doesn't work.
I'm sure. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So go for it.
I was just going to say, so it sounds like you kind of got into this to get over your own fear, and whether you knew that was some kind of special intuition or whatever it was, it happened that way. And you've actually developed this into part of your work. So
Yeah.
can you kind of talk about how it went from I'm scared, I want to get over it, I love this, I'm passionate about it, and now it's part of my work that I do?
Yeah, no, I think when I ended up working at the haunted hotel, it was like I became friends with them. Like they had my back and I had their back, and it was a bond that I couldn't explain. And it was it was like if you're blindfolded and certain people would come next to you, you know their energy, you know who's next to you. It was like that. I could feel the differences between them, and they were fun and they were sweet and they were caring, and they became family, literally. And I didn't know how to explain it any other way. And I'm like, there's so much more to this. But then to know that if I did that for somebody else, like, hey, your grandma's here and she wants to tell you this, how healing and profound that is, and then to be able to let the ones that are just there because they want to be there just be. They don't have to go anywhere. They're fine. They're happy. That was their home. Mm-hmm. But then there's the lost souls. Like, if I can somehow be a part of helping somebody cross over because they're scared, why not? I mean, if you come to me and you're really scared about doing something, I'll give you advice, right? So why wouldn't I do it for somebody else? And sometimes I think people don't get in the mindset that these spirits are from all over different time frames. You think about back in like late 1800s, a small boy who stole a loaf of bread and got sent to a juvenile thing and spent his time in prison. To him, stealing a loaf of bread is keeping him on this earth because he's not supposed to go anywhere because he did something bad. He's going to be judged. It doesn't need to happen.
Or you take people that were in prison or in a psych ward or in some of these places where their existence here was all in a blender and all.
Right.
I don't want to use the word messed up because that's not fair and that's not. But it was in a blender. I think the best thing is to emotionally mind, body, spirit blender, and then they die, and then they're now in this next phase, and they're still in that blender.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if they're popped and prodded and
right.
people are asking all day, of course they're getting a little like.
Right.
Like, do you ever get just like the leave me alone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're like, no, just no. And it's like, okay, cool. It'd be the same thing if I was, you're having a rough day and I'm like, hey, Kelly. And you're like, not today. And I'm like, okay. Catch up with me later.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And so for those out there that this is just totally wild and they're like, wow, I don't know. I've seen the movies, but I'm happy that that's Hollywood, and I'm scared at night with the lights out, but I don't really want to think about why. When you say you're having a conversation with someone, is it a voice that you're hearing? Do you see anything? What is that experience like for you personally?
And that's a great question. And it's pretty much the same whether I'm doing a mediumship reading or the investigating. It's kind of the same. It all works the same. Sometimes it can be words. Sometimes it's like an image, something that pops into your head, like a thought. I just know this to be what it is. Sometimes they do stuff. They'll move something. They'll do actually something physical to make them know that they're there, Synchronicities. Holy crud, synchronicities. That one is a big one. And these are synchronicities that I couldn't even make up if I wanted to. I'm like, there is no reason that should be doing what it is at the moment. So there's tons of different things. And just putting the pieces together. Sometimes it's a puzzle. And that's the other thing too. And it's the same with doing readings for people too. You don't get everything in one reading. There's no time on the other side. So if somebody comes to me for a reading, or I go on an investigation, and a year later I meet with the exact same spirits, they just continue the story because there's no time. They don't know there's a huge gap. So sometimes you get it in pieces, and you have to kind of put the puzzle together.
Oh my goodness, do I know on every single level, Char. I absolutely get it. Okay, so how do people work with you if they want to learn more about your investigations and your partnership with Greg? How do people find out?
Those are all on charvinity.com. Also, you can go to Parafriends Events. That's kind of where me and Greg post everything. We do a whole class on paranormal investigating. We take you through the ins and outs between the two of us over 25 years of doing this. All the tricks and things we wish we would have known to help you. We also help you tap into your intuition and go into it with a mind's eye of what does this feel like? How is this working? You don't need to be a psychic, but, there's a part of that intuition that has to kick in. You have to be a part of it and have the experience. So we have that going on. We have a class coming up in January. Super excited about that.
I also see you guys coming to it with honor and respect and ceremony with it, and I really resonate with that, and I love that.
Absolutely. Greg and me have always had the same thought process that it's their story, not ours. And he kind of coined that phrase a little bit, but I'll run with it alongside him. And it is their story. And when we allow them to tell their stories, it's a whole nother investigation. It's more of us coming together, and it's not really an investigation. It's more of us hearing a story.
Mm. That's so incredibly lovely. Like, yay. Okay, so that's one hat you're wearing.
Yeah.
Let's take it and just kind of spin it a little bit. You are also an entrepreneur. Tell us about that.
Oh, my goodness. So, yes. So, Charvinity is my own little baby. That's what I do. That's me in a nutshell. That's all the things you listed at the beginning, all the things that I do. So, I work with clients, doing readings, healings, mentorship. My empath series is one of the things I'm most proud of, working with my empaths and really helping to empower them and to find that it's not so much a curse but a gift and how you can use it to empower yourself. And then, recently the Metamorphosis Connections, kind of came along, which again kind of fits right into the whole thing because I've been that person where, hey, do you know somebody that does this? I'm like, I sure do. And just like I want to bridge the gap between the metaphysical and the paranormal, I'm bridging the gap between people and the people that can help them along their way too.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about the website.
So the Metamorphosis Connection is a platform for holistic, metaphysical people, shops, whoever would like to list themselves on there. And then we help promote you through social media, newsletters, events, and other things. So it's kind of like a big marketing platform for that realm of the world.
And you're tapping into people from all over the world. So it's not just a Minneapolis platform.
Nope, it's open to everybody. And we've got some big things coming up next year I'm super excited about. So we're working on some things and we're gonna do some amazing stuff. So I'm excited for everybody that's there and anybody that wants to come along.
Perfect. And then how do we spell that website?
Oh gosh. Okay. Metamorphosis. METAMORPHOSIS Connections CONNECTIONS.com.
You did it.
I did it.
Grade A. So, Char, you mentioned you've got some big things coming, and I get you don't want to give it away. It's a good tease, but can you give us a little insight into some of the things that you got coming up?
Well, we're just kind of expanding things a little bit. We did a whole facelift on the website. We kind of changed some things up, offering some more services for people. I think there were some things that people that were already on there weren't even aware that they could take advantage of. So kind of bringing awareness to the things that they can do, promoting more. We've expanded our social media platforms to several more outlets. A podcast is coming, so we have all kinds of great things coming. Some other things that are still in the works. I don't want to jinx those yet.
Don't jinx them. No, don't do that. Oh, that's exciting. So what are you feeling for, because we have a couple minutes left, what are you feeling coming down the pipeline for 2023?
Oh my gosh. I really am going to make 2023 the year of prosperity on multiple levels. Mm-hmm. Happiness, joy, connections, wealth, everything. Lots of seeds got planted this year, and now we're going to make them grow.
That's amazing.
Char, do you have, are those things that you're just intuiting, or do you have a process that kind of says, based on your expertise or mastery in all these different modalities, that's what your angels are telling you? Like, what's your process to come up with that?
It's a little bit of everything. So my intuition is telling me, I'm manifesting the heck out of it. And then also I pay a lot of attention to astrology. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of got that input in there. And I'm just determined to make it happen.
Absolutely, my lady, do that. What events are you going to be doing in the next, so you have your classes, mm-hmm. and I know you're also a partner with Maria Shaw, so give her a little shout out. You just had one this weekend,
Yeah,
didn't
she was just here this weekend. She's fantastic. She comes about 5 times a year. She'll be back in February and then I think in May. I don't know the dates right off the top of my head, but she goes to the Marriott Minneapolis Airport Hotel. It's week 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. It's fantastic. She is an amazing person. I just adore her completely. She's so sweet. She's so kind. She's everything you would hope for and more when you meet somebody that does what they do at their caliber. Yeah. So I just love working with her.
Oh, good. Well, that's just fun. Yay. Okay, so prosperity, we're going to manifest that for everybody coming into this new energy, coming into a brand new year, which is going to be like really, really powerful. Brian, before we wrap up, do you have any, we have a very gifted person here today. Do you have any questions you'd like to wrap us up with?
Yeah, I'd love for you to leave everyone with your insights into how to make the most out of these last couple days of 2022. What are the ways to dig in, end the year in a beautiful tone to get ready for all that prosperity next year?
That is a great question. One of the best things you can do to help manifest anything is gratitude, because it's a high vibration. So you want to be in a high vibration mode. Start giving gratitude for all the things that have happened this year and give yourself grace. You made it. We're here. We made it. You know, it's been tough. This has been a tough couple years, but there's so much to be grateful for. So many new connections, so many happy people, so many great things. Just be grateful and give yourself some grace.
Okay, gratefulness, grace, and curiosity here with Char. Charvinity.com, metamorphosisconnections.com. I won't make you spell it again. And we are going to wrap this time up with Char. This is one of our fantastic shows. We're doing twofers, so it's going to be fun. And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back. Thanks, everybody. Hey, Brian, we're back.
We're back. Oh my gosh, here we go. I was like talking and it was like, oh, hey, here we are.
You excited about this next segment?
We are. Let's dive right in. Kelly, who do we have with us?
We have Tara. Tara's magical. It's Tara, and it's Flaksrud, correct?
Yep.
Yay! I'm getting better, everybody. I'm getting better.
That's a Being Curious show first, by the way.
That's a Being Curious.
Kelly got the name 100% correct.
Whoop, whoop. So Tara is a magical friend of the Edge magazine. And we wanted to bring her on today and not only talk about all of her gifts and abilities as this beautiful artist and soul and person in the world, but what I loved that when we asked her what action, and we'll get to this later, and we'll ask her what she's curious about. We asked her what action does she want the audience to take, and this is what she said: love themselves and take back their power. I mean, does it get more fascinating and fantastic and inspiring than that? I mean, it doesn't. Sorry. So, Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what are you curious about?
I love colors. And colors is like my first language. That's what I tell people. With English being my second. So like colors and energy is my first. I feel first before I hear. So when I was little, I was in a hospital a lot of times because of my facial defect. And when I was 5, my earliest memory, when I was 5, I was scared, and there was a lot of white around. You got the white walls, the white lights above you, everything was like white and stale. And being in Minnesota, white snow falling. So like a lot of things I associated white with, I didn't like. It scared me. It was uncomfortable. And so I remember when I was 5, I started coloring in my mind the walls, different colors, and the outfits of the doctors I would color in so it wasn't so scary. And I do remember laying on the bed, on the hospital bed, excuse me, seeing that bright light. And I remember my grandparents always saying, you know, when you go to the bright light when you die. And I was like, no, I hope that's not the light I'm supposed to be going to. It scared me. And so I was like, I colored that light so it wasn't white because I didn't want to go yet. But that's where like the color stuff started coming in. That before that surgery though, there was an older lady who came in and gave me a Braveheart bear, homemade Braveheart bear. And that was when I decided I wanted to help others because I asked her why I got the bear. And she said to help you feel a little better from the surgery. And I asked her, what do you do for a job? And she said she volunteers. So I didn't know volunteers didn't get paid, but I always wanted to be a volunteer. And I have throughout my life, but I had to get a job too. So my mission was to, no matter where I work, to help people and make them laugh or smile. And along the way, I realized that throwing glitter on people, not everybody likes that. And so I had to find other ways. One of them is the shirt that I made.
Sorry, I'm still at you throwing glitter at people. Like, looking at you going, what did you just do? I'm sorry. Your shirt. That's just like, I love how you just like slid that in. I just realized that I can't just throw glitter at people.
Not everybody likes glitter, apparently.
I'm sorry. Please show us the shirt again.
So I made a shirt that says smile and be loved. Because if you're looking at it, so purple is higher vibration color. And that's why I chose purple. But the words, when you read it, it gives that power to the person. And whenever I feel bad or need a little extra, I can read it to remind myself to love myself. And then on the back, it says something like, hi, the person behind me, I hope you have a wonderful day, something to that effect. So no matter if you're the wearer of the shirt or reading the shirt, you're going to get love and spreading the vibration of, love around. It's my way of throwing glitter without throwing glitter, along with my silly personality. But
I would actually like if you threw glitter at me. So I'm just saying.
Okay, noted.
So next time I see you and you throw glitter at me, I'm just going to stand and I'm just going to like spin around like a little girl and I'm going to be like, yay.
Yes.
Something when I was doing research on you before the show, you have on your website about color. And I just wanted to share this with our audience. All colors of the rainbow are very important within themselves. And when you add them all together, it creates something even more magical. Like the rainbow, we can each other do great things by ourselves. However, when we work together in collaboration, we're able to help more people and spread lots of sunshine. I would like to invite you to take a look at all the great, beautiful individuals and individual colors that Tara brings together on a regular basis. And purple is a beautiful color on its own, but when it's a part of the rainbow, it's collaborating, it's together, it's unified. It's like these beautiful stitch that are together and they're all joining together for fun and for love and for beauty and for magic. So tell us about the colors of the rainbow. And by the way, I love the way you said how you would color all the walls in the hospital and then the doctor's coats and all. I mean, that's just, I love how your brain works. So tell us about the collaboration of all the colors of the rainbow.
So I also have synesthesia, I think I'm pronouncing that right, where like I feel and I associate it with a color. And like colors have meanings more than just the energy side of what I do. So like red for me is about grounding. So there's a lot of different things that I put into this. Different aspects from life coaching, a little bit of Tony Robbins, a little bit of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, things like that once I got older. But when I was younger, I didn't have any of that. So I just took colors that I loved and what colors made me feel comfortable. And some have more of a warm feeling and some are like yucky or, different shades of everything. Like our emotions and our feelings are a lot like colors because there's only So a lot of times people will say, well, there's only black and white and everything's in between. Well, we only have fear and love for those, and everything else is a shade of those. So I kind of integrated all that together. And then, like, if I was to say, what's the first color that comes to mind for either you, Brian, or Kelly, what would you say?
I'm getting purple,
Okay.
but that's probably because I've been influenced by you so far.
Well, and I also saw purple, and then I took a step back, and then I was like, I need something different. And then I saw a rainbow because I think of that. But I don't know. I'm going to go purple.
Okay, so with purple, we're up here, we're high vibration, and sometimes we're just floating around a lot without our feet solid to the ground. So then, when I would say, when a lot of times when I say when people say purple is to go back down to red, orange, and yellow, because what happens is we need a more of a foundation, more grounding. But not a lot of people know what that means when we're talking to them, like a person that's not familiar with spiritual language or what have you. So I'll say one way to ground, not only meditation and things like that, but also to check your basic needs, your food, water, shelter, bills, that kind of thing. Reevaluate that and make sure you have that in place so you feel comfortable and safe and security. That brings in the security, the certainty, things like that. Then from there, work on boundaries and standards for yourself and others. That creates confidence, and it stabilizes your foundation, because as we grow, we forget to reevaluate those things. Also, and then that way you can start moving up the rainbow color or the chakra system, whatever you want to do. But a lot of times too, if you're having like a creative block, I tell people to do that too, because they're worried about, like, I should be doing this, this, and this. Well, if you get those things done and put them out of your mind or set them aside, you have more room for creativity and more flow of things. A lot of times, no matter what color you say of the rainbow, I'm going to probably bring you back down to red. Not always, but a lot of times. Because a lot of times it's about boundaries and standards. And it also brings you back to loving yourself. Because if you don't have those boundaries and standards, you're allowing things to happen, or maybe not always your choice of allowing or what have you, but things happen. And it's like, oh, I need to go back to ground zero again and reevaluate what it is I want or don't want, things like that. Or maybe it's not about boundaries and you're like, oh, I'm worried about bills or food, shelter, that kind of thing. Those all help your groundwork feel safe and secure. It's kind of like when you're camping and they always say build your fire first. It's kind of like doing that. You build your fire and then you can keep moving and flourishing and blooming.
So I was going to ask you, and I think you've already answered it, but do you always tie the same information and connection to the color? So is red always that grounding and that fire? Is purple always? Okay, so is that kind of a symbol to you? Does it ever change?
I would say yes and no, because I also feel their energy, the person that I'm asking. So, like, if somebody else was to say purple, but I felt like their energy was more. I don't know how to explain this. I feel like a lot of times I do bring it down. Like, it's always the same, but I can't say it's always the same because of the energy of what I feel. I feel like you guys do a lot of work with what you're doing and forget to maybe take a break and reevaluate some of that stuff. Not saying that you don't do that, but there might be somebody else who is already working on that. And then red would be more like there's a snake in your aura, or like there's like a snaky feel or something, where like a hiccup might be coming along, or something along that, where red would be like kind of like a danger, but not dangerous. Just watch out what you're doing, listen to your intuition more. That kind of feel, I guess. Or like blue is your throat chakra in the chakra system. So speaking your truth. Right now, sometimes I feel like I'm mumbling or having a hard time expressing. So then I would go back down to red and slow down, focus, that kind of thing, so that I can speak more clearly or give myself more confidence that I'm speaking what's going on in my head. It's like do-do-do-do-do-do. But I tend to vomit information on people really fast sometimes, not intentionally, but it's like I want to know more, right? And then I'm like, so I have to like focus myself. So I'll get like a feeling in my throat to slow down, or like there's different things that I feel when I talk to people, or their energy. So I guess it's a little different. I don't know if that really answered your question.
Tara, can I ask another question? I
Yeah.
love this sweatshirt that you have, and
Yeah.
maybe you have others of them. I'm wondering what kind of connections that sweatshirt has caused in your life. Has anyone ever come up and given you a hug or said, "Hey, that's really cool"? Have you ever started any cool connections because you've worn that?
I don't think I don't I haven't gotten any hugs or anything cool like that. I do know people that have bought some from me. I only made a few of them, and I have some people around the US that have bought them from me, and they've had experiences with that, but nobody's done that with me necessarily, like no like physical touch, hugs, that kind of thing. There would be people like, oh, I like your shirt. But I also notice a lot of people are like in the zone and they're not really here where I go with the shirt.
Well, that's what you need the glitter for.
See?
You got to get
Like,
people's attention.
like,
Throw
thank
the
God.
glitter then.
Yeah. So I just try to get people to like not ruffle their feathers, not to make them upset, but just kind of like I just want to like shake them a little bit and be like, smile, or I don't know. I just want people to smile and love themselves, take back their power. So I just tell people I brainwash people into loving themselves when they ask what I do.
Well, if anyone's going to brainwash you to do something, you might as well do it to
See?
love yourself and take back your power. I mean,
Right? And the thing is, they're going to look at me because I look different anyway, right? So I might as well teach them something or talk to them about something positive when they're looking at me so then they don't feel awkward looking at me because I look a little different. And then I can spread love onto them in the meantime. It's like all around good, I guess. Or at least I hope.
I love that you said that. You just called it out. You're like, well, they're looking at me, so I might as well take a moment and take a dance. I mean, like, right? I love it.
Yeah.
I love the spin, because so many people would just be like, oh, I look a little different, or I sound a little different, and and they low vibrational, or try to do something to hide themselves so people can't see your amazing beauty. And I love that you're like, this is me. This is how I look. You're gonna take an extra couple moments because you're curious, and I'm gonna slide something in and about love. So you do aura paintings. Tell us about your aura paintings. And let's take a step back. Not everyone knows what your aura is. So to our AM 950 audience, please go into what is our aura and what do you see? And then you must see auras very, very clearly if you can paint them. So tell us more.
So I usually don't see them unless I tune into it. Okay. Because for two reasons. One, I'm just not in that space, but two, I feel like it's an invasion in their privacy of sorts. Like, I don't know.
I totally
I don't
get
know how to
it.
explain
You
it.
said that. Nope, it's like being a psychic medium and walking around and trying to dial in with everybody all the time. It's none of our business, right?
Yeah.
So
Plus, it drains you too.
it does drain you. Believe me, I've been there, done that. So I love it. There's ceremony with it, and I dial in with it.
So what I do is I ask them for a photo or a selfie of who they want me to do the painting on. And then I feel into the feelings of the picture and the subtleties of the picture. And then I associate color with that. And then, so usually a typical would be just an outline of the silhouette of the person and then the colors that I see. But also, before I start painting, I feel and I hear words and phrases. So I write that on the inside. And then on the right, let's see what I'm painting. On the left side of the picture is what I see, like it's like I can see it in my mind, but it's not current. So it's like in the past, perhaps event, or like a dog or a farm or something like that. That'll be on the left side, and then the right side will be things that I hear. So, and I never know what it means to the person until after they tell me, because I'm just supposed to show them. And I don't think I've gotten anybody saying that they don't know what it means. Well, there's been a few people that are like, I don't know what that means right now, but then they always come back later. This is what that meant. I just wanted to let you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's totally cool. You don't have to tell me. I always love hearing if it resonates, if I'm tuning into the right energy of that picture. But it's really, really fun. And I just use water. I use different mediums. So like acrylic, watercolor, and sometimes glitter goes on there. It's just on a piece of paper, like a mixed media paper. But I spend a good hour to 2 hours per person, depending on what I get, I guess.
That's fantastic. So you have a website. Please share that with our amazing community.
It's terracehealinghands.llc. I have it, all the colors. So, like if you scroll down on it, there's all the colors. And if you press a color, then it'll take you to an item that might be good for that color. I'm still working on adding more stuff to the shop. But if you go down to the rainbow color, those are all my collaborations. Because we're all in it together, and that's part of the rainbow, right? So, and then I also have my stuff at a couple other shops. KL Design in Decorah, Iowa.
Beautiful.
And then BKV Decor in Isanti. And then I also have it on another website called elementalsworld.com.
That's fantastic. Well, guess what? You kind of cued your own music on that one. Well done.
Nice.
And you're on social platforms. You're on Facebook.
Yep.
And again, terrashealinghands.llc.
Yep.
Tara, thank you so much for being on today. This was amazing. And I promise you, I'm not going to see color the same. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.